what we're really talking about is collaboration within and beyond engineering. So one of the big things, that sort of the current system is lots of manual exports out of information. So it could be that maybe if you've got your Creo drawings, you might be saving them as a PDF. The engineer has to open it up, save as a PDF, save that to the network drive, or put it into SharePoint, whatever that might be. Printouts or paper plots, they still do happen. The big risk with those is they quickly become outdated, particularly when they get left, lying around on the shop floor and people just go and grab that drawing because it's convenient, not realizing there's something newer, or that sort of, ad hoc and in-person notification. Okay, so the trick there is, go and grab someone, ask them, oh, can you give me this out of the system that you use? But again, you've got issues around, context, what's it for, what's its purpose, things like that. Okay, so the idea of using a system like Windchill is really to help you prevent that sort of stuff from happening. Okay, so really when we talk about users of that Windchill system, there's kind of at a high level, three sort of types of users that we see inside those systems. So you've got your primary PLM users. So that's the people who are in there, every day or nearly every other day, who are using it all the time. Your engineers using CAD connected in, the people doing document management every day in Windchill, like we saw in last week's webinar as well. Those people are sort of your full-time primary PLM users. So they're in there, they're comfortable, they're doing all the things that they need to do. But what you also have is often a much bigger set of users that are really not in there all the time. So secondary PLM participants. So these might be people who go in, fairly regularly, maybe, a couple of times a week to view content that's stored inside the system. Maybe they are asked to contribute to processes that are happening inside that. Maybe they've got to vote on something or add comments to a document or a process that's happening inside Windchill. So these are your sort of secondary users. And then you've got your extended users. So these are people who really sort of occasionally need to go into that system and view a bit of information, grab something out. They might need to look at a drawing, maybe someone in purchasing, when they're asked to send off some requests, they have to send a drawing out, so they grab it at that point. So it's not something they're doing, every week, every day. It might be, once or twice a month, maybe even less than that. Okay, so really the idea for those people is that's where ThingWorx Navigate fits in. It's really to create or give you those sort of role or task-based apps that give you access to that information that's stored in PLM, rather than going to something external where it could be out of date compared to what's, that source of truth that's in PLM. So that's the idea of Navigate, is to really provide you with that access to those. Okay, so I showed this slide in our first webinar. We're talking about the PLM and the digital thread. So what we're talking about is Windchill is really sort of down at this lower level, these sort of strategic enterprise systems. So PLM fits into this, things like your ERP, CRM systems, where they're really the sort of repositories of information. Okay, so on the PLM side, we're looking at CAD information, BOM information, documents, things like that. Those other systems might have, manufacturing, customer, supplier information, whatever that might be. Okay, so there are those systems that are out there, and most organizations have some, if not all, of these sort of systems in place. And then really what you're looking for is, okay, that's great for those users, but what about these other people? So really what PTC's approach is, we've got these platforms that help us to extend out that information. So ThingWorx is a big part of that, which I'll talk about in a minute. Kepware is also part of that on the industrial connectivity, and Vuforia for augmented reality. So they help us, do stuff with that data. But really, it's the end place here, these sort of role or task-based applications. This is what we use to present that data to those users. Okay, so ThingWorx Navigate is really that sort of role-based application built on the ThingWorx platform to really help expand out that information that's stored in Windchill out to the rest of the organization. So, where ThingWorx fits into the picture. So we did a series of webinars late last year on ThingWorx. So if you want to know more about that, we can give that information. But at a very high level, the whole digital transformation for industry, where we're seeing that through connectivity, is things like smart connected products. So as you build sensors into your products that are out there in the field, look at the list of people. I know there are some people on today whose companies do produce those sort of smart products that phone home and provide information to that can be remotely monitored and tracked and serviced, or whatever else it might be. We've got our smart connected operations, what we tend to call here in this neck of the woods Industry 4.0. Okay, and then we've also got smart connected systems. And really this is where ThingWorx Navigates fits into that, is connecting systems together to help us better understand and move that information around when we need to. Okay, so at a very high level, ThingWorx as a platform is really around a number of different aspects. Okay, so I won't get this into too much detail, but really the the primary thing is to source information. Okay, so some of those previous examples we're talking about sourcing information from things, right? Tractors and MRI machines, whatever else they might be that are out there in the field. We might be connecting to our factory operation systems, our PLCs and historian systems and SCADA and SCADA, whatever else that drives our factory. So that's kind of our connected products and connected operations. Okay, but the other part to this is connecting to systems. So that might be cloud-based systems, other business or IT systems, your CRM system, your ERP, your MES, whatever those might be, or to other digital content databases, PLM systems, BIM systems, whatever they might be. Okay, so really where ThingWorx Navigate fits in is it's built on ThingWorx platform and designed to provide out-of-the-box connectivity into Windchill as one of those systems. Okay, but we can connect into these other systems as well, which we'll talk about a bit later on in today's presentation. So once we've connected to that, we can then build some context. We can start to do maybe some analysis or analytics on that. We can even define within the ThingWorx platform, we can define responses to that. If the temperature of a device sensor gets above a certain amount, let's schedule a service call. And then we can engage our users so we can present that information to them. So this is really again, what ThingWorx Navigator is about. It's sourcing that information from PLM and then presenting that to the users through a pre-built application or pre-built UI. Okay, so the ThingWorx platform covers a whole lot, but Navigate's I guess a subset of that. Okay, so ThingWorx, it's the leading industrial IoT platform. Don't take our word for it. It's been consistently rated for going on 4 years now. PTC's been recognized as having the lead in the industrial IoT space with their solutions by multiple different independent analysts.